first time I saw a rattlesnake, I was in my 40s, about 5 years ago when we first moved out here to Gold Canyon. And it was a terrifying experience. And so, hi, welcome to my channel. For those of you that have been watching me and you're like, all I keep seeing is you with snakes or doing all this stuff, you must love them. I've realized that I'm probably giving the wrong impression, and so I need to definitely have a little bit of a talk about where I started, where I'm at now, my thoughts on all of it. I just thought it would be fun to sit and share a little bit. Yesterday saw the first snake of the season. It's already 80 degrees and they're back out again. If you're not familiar, the reptiles out here, they do like a brumation. It's not so much a hibernation, but it's much more geared around the temperature. So we wait until it's in the 80s and then we know they're all coming back out. And yeah, got to see about a 3-foot gopher snake going across the patio, and I love them. We all know that we have Bandit, my gopher snake. I just love her to pieces. So it was good to see that I've got a resident gopher snake. I know that we've got a coach whip around here as well. We've seen regularly. So I haven't seen him out for this season just yet, but as soon as we saw the gopher snake out, I went running to go see if Sherman, the desert tortoise that we have, Sherman, I love Sherman, if he was out. I've been watching for him every day, and sure enough, Sherman was out. And so if you want to see those videos, that's over on Instagram. I go running, screaming too loud for the video on Instagram, Sherman, and just super excited that he was out. So anyways, yeah, it's that whole FOMO starting to happen for all of us that are into it, fear of missing out. Now it's like, they're out, what's happening, what are you going to see? And so you're kind of on that whole lookout. But I am well aware of the fact that rattlesnakes are terrifying. And I'm sure there's people that watch me and just go, how do you like them? Well, I wouldn't... It's not an easy answer, and I think that's why I was like, okay, let's make a video about this, Stacy, talk about it a little bit more, because it's not as simple as, do you love rattlesnakes or hate snakes, or where do you sit with all that? It's something that I've evolved into at this point. I was born and raised in the desert. I was born in Las Vegas, raised in Southern California. I am desert. I hadn't seen rattlesnakes in person. There was, where I was living, they weren't around. They weren't slithering around. Saw my share of lizards, but I hadn't really any experience with rattlesnakes, just knew about them. It wasn't until I started working for the Phoenix Zoo that I even came anywhere close. And still at that, they were behind glass. It wasn't a department I even worked with or around. And I didn't have any real background with them. So no, I wouldn't say I had a huge familiarity or love or anything else for rattlesnakes up until recently. I am in the desert. It's water, water, water. It's in the 80s already today, so I'm not sure where you're at. It's early March for us here. I want to say it's the 7th. I'm not sure on the date, but yeah. And it's already in the 80s. So yeah, we've got our reptiles out. But no, like I was saying, I was not familiar with snakes like that at all. We moved out to Gold Canyon. We have 3 acres of desert property that's surrounded with more desert property that doesn't have anything built on top of it. And so yes, we see all kinds of things out here, or at least I knew I was going to see all kinds of things out here, but kind of went along, well, I hadn't yet. So it's all good. And I knew it was coming, but I hadn't. Started volunteering for the museum that's over in Apache Junction, and I volunteered in the barn, the Apache Land Movie Ranch barn that they have over there, because I wanted to learn the history. Apache Land Movie Ranch was actually over here in Gold Canyon. So when I learned a little bit more about that, I was like, oh, I really want to go over there, volunteer, learn some of the real history. So it was while I was there, I was informed basically, it's not a matter of like if you're gonna see a rattlesnake. This stuff is out in the desert. You're in an old barn. There are rattlesnakes, period. You're gonna see them. But I kept telling myself, no. Well, yes. So the first time I saw a rattlesnake, I was volunteering on a Saturday at the museum, and they have a little shack that you sold like ice creams and stuff, and I would sit and I'd watch the Elvis movie that was made in Apache Land. It was his only cowboy movie where he didn't sing, and I'd watch Charo and I'd stay out there. And one Saturday, it was a magic hour about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's toasty and warm, and I hear screams, and I know exactly what's screaming, and it's the people that are in the barn. And so I step out, and sure enough, there's a rattlesnake that's going across. And so, yeah, that was the first time I had to deal with it. But I think there was a part of me that kind of held it together because, okay, there's people here, I work here, something about like my whole zoo background kind of kicked in, like, okay, call who you're supposed to and get it taken care of. But it was still really startling to go, okay, this is just slithering across. And I think that was what helped as well. It was not aggressive whatsoever. It was far enough away, and it was just making its way across. I think I have a picture now. I am not good, you guys know that. There's no editing on here. There's none of that stuff. It's just me and this camera. So this is the picture that I have of the first, let's see if we can get it, first rattlesnake that I had encountered. That was a decent size, right? It's not bad. But I don't want to give the impression, especially to those that are afraid of snakes. I get why you'd be afraid of them. Rattlesnakes come with their own really serious energy. This is something deadly. Needs to be, you need to stay away from it. You need to respect it. I felt that energy from it. This was no joke. This is not a toy. The first time, that first experience I had around it, by the time I went home, I threw up. I had a headache. It affected me seriously. And then I had to make that decision knowing I was going to go back out to that barn, volunteering. I wasn't even being paid for it. You're going to voluntarily go back out to that barn and stay out there again. And no lie, for 4 weekends in a row, I saw rattlesnakes. It was one after another because when it's season, it's season. And it was terrifying. And any of them didn't make it better. And I was like, how am I supposed to live out here? What am I gonna do? I live in the middle of the desert that obviously has rattlesnakes, western diamondbacks especially. What am I gonna do? So first time I saw one at home wasn't that much longer after being at the museum. So I'm gonna still say about 5 years ago from where I'm at now. I'm at home, and I had wood pallets that I thought, I'm gonna make some raised garden, which now seems laughable. Now that I live out here, no, that's another video of why you can't do that when you live with wild animals. Or listen to the rest of this story. I go out to the pallet and I'm like, well, I don't think it's gonna work in this direction. So I pick up the pallet and I flip it over. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm just out in shorts. I don't even think I had shoes on. Go out to the pallet, go, no, this is not gonna work for my garden. I pick it up, I flip it over, I put it down, and I look, and there's something sticking out of it. Okay, I have pictures because, again, I'm that dumb at that point in my life that I don't even know what I'm looking at, really, that I have just flipped over. You ready? So I'm like, what did I flip over? What is that? Oh, yeah, it is. There had been a good-sized rattlesnake in the pallet that I had picked up and hurled over my head and flipped over. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I took pictures of it. I was terrified and stupid at the same time. I want you to see. Yeah. Called 911, again, which seems ridiculous for the person that I am now, but at that time, and that's what I want you guys to, anyone, I was going to say women, no, it's not just women that are afraid of snakes, anyone that's afraid of snakes. Most of people should be afraid of a rattlesnake. I called 911 and I was terrified, and the operator asked me if I had a pencil so I could take down the number for the non-emergency line. And I told her she was out of her mind. I'm out inside. No, I don't have a pencil. I'm staring at a rattlesnake. I don't know what's happening. I ran, like I said, some of it sounds just stupid now, but now that I know how snakes actually behave and stuff, I behaved poorly, but I was terrified at the time. I just knew this thing was coming after me. I was one of those people. So, and it should have, because I just flipped it over into the air and the pallet landed on it. I go running, I bent the fence, I grabbed part of the fence, I jumped myself over our back fence, run around. Fire department comes for me. I God love the fire department. They send 4 or 5 exceptionally good-looking men. So now I gotta like hold it together because really. And they came out and they're kind of laughing because I live on so much desert property that are they like really gonna have to move a snake to where? To the other side of your property? What are we doing? So they got me to calm down, and I told them I hadn't really lived out here that long, and you know, it was a good sized snake, and so they picked it up, and they even asked me, "Do you want us to just move it on your property?" Well, at that point, I wasn't ready for that. I was like, "Yeah, can we go a little bit further down the road?" And yeah, so they were able to move it. I couldn't sleep that night. I was terrified. I kept the flashes waking up, just his heart. I had a rattlesnake had been over my head. I didn't know what to do. I want to say it was the second day I went to the fire department, and it wasn't the same men, but I needed to talk to someone. I said, am I supposed to be able to do this by myself? Am I supposed to be able to handle it or move one? And they're like, no, you did exactly what you're supposed to call, get help if you need it. But I was like, I need that reality check. I live out here. I've asked to live in the middle of this desert, and they live here too. And yeah, you have to learn to. How are you going to cohabitate? I can't say. How do y'all live together? Get some more water. How are you going to do this when you are terrified of one of the creatures that lives here and this is where they belong? I had to figure that out. I'm not of the person that would just kill something just because I'm afraid of this. I'm not going to kill one just because it's going by me. That's not my nature. That's not the human I am. But I'd see them on the roads get run over a lot out here. It happens, and it's unfortunate, it's awful. But though I'm afraid of them, I can recognize the fact that they're beautiful creatures, and they don't deserve to just continue to be run over into the road. That's not right at all. Just because I'm afraid of you and I live here, like it's okay to run you over. I don't think so. They are part of the food chain, the circle of life. They do have a purpose, and it just wasn't right. So, okay, Stacy, can you pick one up out of the road? Get it out of the road so it doesn't get smushed anymore. So that was one of the first things that I challenged myself with. Could I even do that? Was I capable of grabbing a dead snake of any kind and getting it out of the road? Did I know if it was dead or not, or safe or not? Rattlesnakes, even dead, that is still a very dangerous something to handle. It's still locked and loaded, if you will. So it was things that I needed to be careful and understand what I was doing. But what were you going to do once you took it off the road? Then what? So at first it was just leave it for the birds. That we have vultures, and they leave still parts or whatever, does not take them. Leave me the vertebrae a lot. And so I kept looking, going, well, the vertebrae is really pretty. Is there anything you can do with that? Like, I still just can't give up the fact that these animals are dying and for no reason. And so I was like, I don't want to glorify it, but there's got to be something. And so I took the vertebrae, and I made necklaces, and I challenged myself to learn how to at least skin them properly or whatever, all for education purposes. I don't sell the skins, especially. I do not sell. People can donate to me for the nonprofit that I have, the Desert Nature Alliance. So if you want to donate to me, but no, I don't sell. No, there's no money, because I can't do that. So gone from someone who terrified, throwing up, never have been around rattlesnakes at all, to can pick them up out of the road, deceased, take them home, do the best you possibly can in terms of skinning, of mounting, of displaying, of making videos, education, anything from there's math when you start looking at the patterns and the repetition. And so I knew that I had to do something with it. Is this the person I want to be labeled as, Stacy, like the snake person? No, I think there's a lot more to me, and I think we're going to continue watching the evolution, especially with all you look behind me, the amount of the skulls, the articulation, the taxidermy of just the things that I've learned. It's been amazing in such a short amount of time. My senses got a little dulled with the rattlesnakes. I worked across the street for the golf course for a year, which was magnificent to see the animals. Did I enjoy the work? No, we won't talk about that. That's a whole other conversation. No, but what I got to see and experience, again, beautiful and wonderful, and it grew me as a person. again, during season, because I worked there for a year and you have these significant seasons with our reptiles, with our snakes, I saw rattlesnakes over and over and over again, almost picked them up. Had one slither behind me when I was raking in, the aloe vera type of plants in those when I'm trying to work around the golfers, all that kind of stuff. And so I became someone who saw them quite a bit. So yes, I get it. If someone comes near me and it's like, I am terrified, I don't want to touch it, I don't want to see it, I don't want to be anywhere near them, Stacy. To those that are like just enthralled and want me to, I want these and get me one, but I get it. I kind of run the gamut myself. I'm watching the shade come through and I don't know if I don't know where to go to. The sun's coming at us, but so anyways. Right now, if you come out to the desert and you're gonna hike, it is season. Be careful. Right now, I have steel toe boots on. If I'm outside, I'm safe. I got some pants on. I'm not gonna go out in the bushes. I'm not out looking for golf balls anymore and bones. Season has changed for me. For me now, it's looking on the route that I have. I look for anything that has passed away. I write down on all my notes the animals I have seen, who's out, starting to see the turkey vultures, and just trying to keep track of what's going on out here. So I want you guys to stay safe. Please don't try to pick them up. Don't try to play with rattlesnakes. If you're not sure if one is dead on the road, I am definitely poking at them. I'm not just grabbing them. Stay away from their faces. Please just be careful. I want you to be around with us for a lot longer. So thanks for spending time with me. Again, yes, we'll get back to doing some javelina or whatever else videos that we've got. But like I said, with season starting, I just thought it would be time to talk about rattlers a little bit. So again, thank you. Put a like, subscribe, and go over to my Instagram. Also, we've got the Desert Nature Alliance is over there as well. So have a great one. Bye.